Hi, we're here today with Kate Barekati, Audit and Advisory Partner for Ecovis Wingrave Yeats. We're going to be carrying on with our prior video series, asking partners from across the tax and audit profession about why they enjoy it, what they're looking at, and hopefully allowing people like yourselves to work out if that could be a good career for yourself. So Kate, why did you decide to join the audit profession?
Gosh, I never really set out to become an auditor. I think like most people, I sort of naturally ended up here. I did a degree in economics at university, and that sort of lended itself to wanting to become a chartered accountant. I knew I wanted to come and live in London. I'm not a city girl. And so sort of the two together just led me into the audit world, really. And that seems to have worked out quite well for me.
Yeah, I mean, partner within 9 years?
Yep, 9 years.
That's
I joined 2007 and became a partner in 2016, so 9 years. So.
And did you find sort of that rapid progression was something that actually you really bought into? Did you find it a challenge, or actually was it something, yeah, great, let's go for this and really lean into it?
To be honest, I think I've always been ambitious, and I'm one of those annoying people probably who's always, I get something and then I'm wanting to know what's next. I think also I joined a firm that was growing and supporting staff, and I had a good sponsorship in our senior partner at the time. And so he really pushed me each time and told me what I needed to be doing. So although it's easy to say it's 9 years, it felt like a lot of mini steps in the meantime. And every year I was wanting to know what I could do more of, so that I could push myself to get to partner. I knew I wanted to be a partner. That was sort of one of my key objectives relatively early on after I qualified.
Amazing. So what do you think are the biggest issues that are likely to impact the audit market in 2025?
I think we'll see the sort of same trends in terms of the landscape and the regulatory compliance aspect of audit. Like that continues to cause disruption and headaches in the industry and keeping on top of everything. But I guess the pace of everything. So we've experienced a huge amount of technological advancement and AI and the way in which we can embed that into our audit processes. So certainly for us as a business, 2025 is almost about continuing to stay ahead of the game, making sure we've got the right people and talent in our business and that we spot these opportunities early and sort of educate ourselves and our clients.
And you mentioned around sort of building the right team, and of course, you know, yourself as one of the partners here. Obviously, I'm well aware of the sort of the growth rate that you're currently going through. And you know, how have you found the recruitment of not just getting people on board, but particularly good people who are able to sort of continue that growth? How have you found that already over the last few months, and what do you expect to see through 2025?
I think it's quite a tough market out there. There are lots of people in the recruitment market, but we definitely have quite high standards and we expect a lot of people. But mainly it's about finding the right people to join us, the right fit, and who have the right culture and behaviours. And in which case we think then we can do a lot of teaching and education. We're quite fortunate in that we've got lots of very good people in our business, and many of them have been with us from day one. So we've been able to train and develop them. But we've committed to doing that across the board, and we do a mixture of internal and external training, but certainly trying to stay ahead of things. It sometimes means that we throw people in the deep end and say, hey, we've heard about building these agents. Do you want to help us? Or can you go and research how we can use this AI product in our audit? And they start with a blank piece of paper and off they go. But we're there to support them. But it helps people keep interested and do things aside from their sort of day job as well.
And you mentioned AI. Yeah. How do you think AI is likely to impact? So I think a lot of people speak about AI. I think there is a sense of skepticism in the market as to actually, is AI going to impact the audit world? Is it going to potentially take away the need for there to be as many auditors? Is it going to be a benefit to auditors? How are you expecting it to pan out?
I think it will just create more thinking auditors. I think obviously in audit there is an element of process to follow, but actually the more as auditors we can be skeptical, apply critical thinking is really important. So these AI tools will be there to help disseminate information quicker, help us produce better quality written content, but ultimately you only get as good out as what you put in.
Yeah.
And I think you need to be really careful as to how you use AI in your business and make sure you're interrogating the sources and where it's coming from to make sure it's actually reliable, and then using that to provide value to our clients.
Perfect. What do you think are the top 3 most important qualities for somebody who wants to become a partner within the audit profession?
I think that being a partner, the biggest thing is that you need to be a team player, and you need to recognise that you still don't know everything and that there are others around you who can help you with that. As a partner group, we often say that we sort of walk into a partner meeting and we've got a question and we think we know the answer, but a lot of the time it's about listening to others and then sometimes walking away with a completely different view. So I think the team player, understanding that as a partnership and as a wider firm, you're all pulling in the right direction is probably the biggest sort of attribute and understanding. Obviously, there's things such as like business development, like we won't grow as a firm if we're not maintaining existing relationship with clients and making sure that others know like what our sector specialisms are or how we operate and the niche services that we are in. But BD takes a lot of time to develop those skills, and everyone has quite a unique approach to it. So whether you're someone who likes to walk into a large group of people and sort of chit chat and do sort of large networking events, or someone more like me who likes a more intimate group in a specific area, I think you need to work out what your style is and make sure that marries up with any firm that you're looking to join and sort of the partner table that you're looking at.
Amazing. When considering making hires at sort of the manager, maybe senior manager grade, what do you think is more important? Is it sort of evidence of loyalty with one firm, sticking with them? Is it actually somebody who has maybe sort of explored and moved around and seen different sort of businesses and sectors? Is there a preference?
I think it's easy to have a really strong view either way, but ultimately I just want to understand why someone's either chosen to stay for a long period of time and sort of what conversations they had and what they felt they got out of that for their career, or if they've moved a lot. I'm sometimes a bit cautious if it's too frequent, but at the same time there can be completely legitimate reasons, sort of geographical moves or opportunities you just couldn't turn down. So I think as long as you're continuing to sort of grow your skills and the moves make sense, I probably wouldn't really have a preference for either. But it's trying to have that conversation in the first place, isn't it? And making sure that your sort of CV and what you're looking for reflects your background.
And you mentioned choosing to stay, and I hope you won't mind me sort of bringing up that, of course, you made a very big decision to choose to stay here at Ecovis when you were sort of offered partnership. Can you just walk us through that?
Yeah, I mean, I trained here, qualified, and then chose to stay. There were obviously lots of opportunities when you qualify, and people sort of come to your door on LinkedIn and things like that. But actually, I think it's really important that if you do stay somewhere, you're choosing to stay for the right reasons. But also, if something's not quite working, that you do take the chance to assess your options. Like certainly when you're thinking about becoming a partner or being offered the chance to become a partner, like life as a partner can be quite different. And whatever firm you're in, you've got to really think about, does that partnership match my aspirations? Do I culturally fit in? Will I get on with them? Because ultimately it's a long career, and I really think it's important that you enjoy your career, and ultimately you'll be working with your partners and making some big, sometimes difficult decisions along the way. So you need to think about how that reflects your values, and does that align with where you want to be?
What are the key differences between a senior manager and then moving to director, and again from moving director to partner?
So I can only talk about it at Ecovis, and we've recently gone through the task of sort of overhauling our roles and responsibilities and putting them on our intranet, but there are some quite clear distinctions certainly here. So as a senior manager, you would be overseeing a portfolio of clients and delivering that either into a director or a partner, but essentially you'd be the most senior people around the management table. So you'd be working with other assistant managers and managers and running the engagement. So planning the audit, reviewing the field work, reviewing the completion, and then working with the partner to deliver that to the client. At director level, I guess the step from senior manager to director, not every good manager will become a director. I always think you need to have a sort of something else or a business case. So that business case might be that you're but you are very good at audit, or it could be that you've developed a particular niche area, so focus on sustainability or focus on media, or you're an exceptional technical auditor and you're a go-to person. I think there's what does the business need, and as a director, like what can you deliver? I think as a partner, if I look at a director and thinking about promoting someone to a director, it's about, do I want to put that person on the pedestal and say to the rest of the firm, I want you to be like this person emulates what the firm's about, the culture, the values. And then director to partner, again, another really tricky one, because I think sort of early on you can identify people that might become a partner one day. I think that everybody can get to a certain point, but not everybody will become a partner.
Yeah.
And I also think that people expect partner to be just another promotion, when actually you're then running a business, and not everybody wants to be running a business.
Yeah, it's a lot of responsibility.
Exactly, yeah. A lot of responsibility and a lot of sleepless nights from time to time and making difficult decisions. But around our partner table, I'd say each of us brings something different to the table. So it's not necessarily about not seeing yourself around the table. You might bring something that doesn't exist, or you might complement something that already exists, or actually there's a business need to have, you know, two people with a particular focus or sector or skill set. So I think there's quite a lot of dynamics. Each firm will be different, but certainly we've tried really hard to articulate that to the team, so they understand what's expected of each level.
Yeah. So in your role here at Ecovis, you specialise in the media and entertainment sector, whereas lots of people within audit will be more generalised. Do you feel there's a benefit to one or the other?
I think it depends on the firm and what the firm needs, but it also depends on what you want to do. So Ecovis, I feel like I'm having that conversation all the time at the moment. We're in appraisal season and there are pros and cons to it. So I did specialise relatively early on. I didn't choose to from the outset. I sort of fell into working into the creative industries, and I learned that being able to build that reputation was really valuable and certainly enabled me to progress through to partner. But I guess there could be disadvantages, like if the sector had a really difficult year, or as a firm we had a mass exodus of clients or something, then that would put me in a precarious position. So I guess that might not always work for everybody, but certainly for me, and building reputation, being genuinely passionate about something that I do and actually enjoying my job every day has been really helpful. What I would say is don't specialise too early on. I think that breadth of skills, that breadth of experience is really important. And even I, you know, 3-4 years ago, still had businesses, widget businesses with stock that I now wouldn't deal with, retail and things. But I draw on those experiences, and my knowledge and the way in which I handle audit engagements would be quite different if I hadn't had that. So I do think it's good to have a sort of badge that you wear, whether that's a service line, a sector line, a size of client, a type of client, but don't let that restrict where you want to be. Or understand that by specialising, it might restrict your movements in future, or mean that in certain sort of economic situations, life's a little bit tougher. But yeah, I love working in the creative industries, and for me, the specialisms really worked out well.
Definitely. And I think one thing that, you know, I know about Ecovis and the way that sort of, you know, you run your teams is allowing people to explore interests and passions they've got, and whether that's ESG or corporate finance with different directors, etc., taking on specializations. Do you think almost there's a value in that, sort of keeping to your core service line of audit, being generalized with audit, but maybe having an extra bolt on, so to speak? Is there value in that?
Definitely. I think as auditors, we should have a good skill set in terms of general business advisory, general awareness of trends and things. So obviously sustainability is a hot topic. As a business, we're trying to embed sustainability in what we're doing as a business, but also in services that we can provide to our clients in the future. And so there's been a number of individuals in the firm who we've supported get sustainability certifications with the ICAW, or go to specific events and hopefully build services around that, and sort of be able to stay one step ahead, so that when a client says, you know, what are you doing in this area, we've got an answer. Or we can be saying to a business, do you know that you need to be thinking about this in the next couple of years? And by the way, we've got team members who can help you.
Amazing. So we're seeing more people at the recently and newly qualified level being open to staying within practice, but maybe want to try something slightly different, be that advisory work or corporate finance work. How can people at that recently qualified level, I guess, best showcase their skills in order to make a move into that sort of space?
I think when you qualify, the world's sort of your oyster, and there's lots of skills that you would have learned in the process that are quite dynamic and that can be used in different spaces. What I would say is at that point, you're an auditor, and so to a potential employer, it might be quite difficult to make a complete move from one service line to another. But there are plenty of firms like ours, like at Ecovis. We have conversations with people all the time about how they can bolt on new qualifications and how we might be able to provide secondments or particular project work that they can get involved in. So, for example, some of our team have done corporate finance qualifications, and we support some with CTA so that they can get some good tax advisory skills alongside their audit. I guess that works out both ways, because it means that as an individual, you are skilling yourselves up. You sort of can dip your toe into something new, but you can always fall back on what you know and decide it wasn't for you. Or it might be that you really enjoy it, you really excel, and then there's other opportunities within that firm that they can provide to support you.
Yeah, so I guess almost rather than making a complete switch from audit to corporate finance, for example, you can go audit, audit and corporate finance, and you still leave yourself with potentially two doors to explore further down.
Exactly. Because in the same way, I mean, I specialise in media and I'm an audit partner, but actually my skill set is across all service lines. My tax knowledge is pretty good. I have sort of sought to sort of grow my business advisory toolkit, so to speak. And I think then if you're moving from audit to a firm that allows you to expand that skills and knowledge, then I think turning yourself into a more rounded advisor and a potential partner for the future, I think that will stand you well.
Definitely. As you know, we've just released our 2025 salary guide, which benchmarks salaries across different sectors, including, of course, audit. Why do you think it's important for people within the audit profession and to benchmark their salaries and look at benchmarking resources?
I think it's important to have an awareness of the industry and what's happening in the industry, sort of keeping up with the trends. So making sure, obviously, that you're being paid fairly within your service line and your skill set, but also it can be aspirational in understanding where you might want to be and sort of in planning your future. And things do change pretty quickly, and certainly that in the life cycle of an auditor, whether that's trainee through to partner, there are pinch points and times when certain levels are in more demand. But what I would say is in benchmarking, you should also speak to your contact at Rutherford Briant to make sure you're also benchmarking things like benefits, because in the world that we're in now, things like flexibility and sort of other benefits can be just as important and valuable to you as the sort of monetary side of things. But I think a benchmarking survey and sort of getting information there is a really good place to start.
You mentioned sort of the flexible working. I think that's a really important point that a lot of people are really, I guess, conscious of now, certainly much more than they were pre-COVID, for example. Just sort of walk us through some of the things that I guess at Ecovis in particular you do to try and promote flexible working and I guess an importance of work-life balance.
So for us, it's incredibly important. We've got a flexible working policy in so much as we say you can pretty much work from anywhere, office or home. We don't have a set number of days. What does tend to happen is that we encourage people to work into teams. So actually our office is quite buzzing on particular days, especially Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and if we're putting on any socials and things. But we encourage people to be adults. We trust them. They can work from wherever they feel comfortable. And that flexibility can extend around sort of other things that in your personal lives. We also have something that's quite unique. So we allow staff to work from anywhere up to 4 weeks a year. So you might be from another country. So we've got quite a few people from Cyprus who pop back to Cyprus and they don't want to spend all their holiday there. So they might work for a week and then take holiday for a week. But it also might be that you just want to go and travel and sort of bring in a bit of work into that as well. So there's a lot of flexibility. As partners, we encourage it and we use it. And throughout the firm, I think everybody does embrace a sort of flexible way that the work that we employ.
Yeah, and I think that's really important to be able to have a conversation with, whether that's a recruitment consultant like myself, whether it's speaking directly to yourselves at Ecovis to work out where's going to best suit what I want, because it isn't as always clear cut as what are the working hours, it's what are the flexibility and what's the flexibility in terms of approach as well, which obviously you guys really do value.
Definitely. Well, and as a partner, and I'm also a mum, I've got 2 young children, so I definitely know flexibility as much as anybody else, and that flexibility means that I can balance my work life and my home life. I come into the office and I enjoy catching up with the team and the clients, but also sometimes I just need to work from home, do a few nursery drop-offs, but also just get my head down, review some files and not be sort of interrupted every 5 minutes. But I think the balance works well, because I would miss the office if I didn't come in, but I would also go a bit crazy if I was at home all the time, I think.
Fair enough. Thanks very much for your time there, Kate. That was really interesting to get your views and opinions on the route to partner that people can take, not only in audit, but just generally within the practice profession. And we, of course, have our tax guide, which is now the practice guide and the path to partner, looking at both tax and audit and how you can potentially move into that space if you want to become a partner, or even if you just want to discuss and explore if that is of interest to you. That is out now, so definitely get in touch if you want to get a copy of that. We can walk you through it. Our salary guide for 2025, we've of course touched on it already, Kate. That is already out. Again, reach out if you want to get a copy of that, and we can speak through specific situations, different types of clients, benefits packages as well, which are different from firm to firm and can't be generalised in a guide. Any of that that's of interest, please do get in touch. And again, thank you very much for your time, Kate.
Thank you.